All right, I'm gonna do this really quickly because I get asked, messaged, and stuff like that almost every day. What toy is that? What toy is that? What toy is that? And um, the answer is usually it's, I can tell you that's a stuffed animal that I tied a string on that I got from the dollar store or Publix, or it's a sheepskin strap that I tied a string on, or it's a tug, or whoa, what kind of tug, what kind of stuffed animal, what kind of this, what kind of that, and it doesn't matter, right? So I'm going to show you some of the toys, but the biggest thing here is it doesn't matter, okay? Matters is how the dog feels about me, how the dog feels about environment, and do I know how to play with the dog? Do I know how to bring play out in the dog with whatever I choose to use as the thing that we play through, That toy is just the thing that we play through. Okay. So I'm going to show you a couple things. I like to use this. This is a sheepskin strap. It's heavily used. Okay, tied on a long string. Let's see, this is a long string. You've probably, if you've seen my stuff, you've seen this. I just tie it on the end. That's it. Uni knot fishing. That's what I use. Cinch it down. Boom. Get a bag of sheepskin scraps. I start a lot of dogs on this because this is really light and I can really get action to trigger instincts in a dog to get them to chase it and bite it and stuff like that. And a lot of dogs, especially the pets that come, I have to trigger instincts, and then they'll kind of chase it and put their paws on it and they'll mouth it, and I can really, this thing's light, and 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 I can easily just make it run away from them and move it around, stuff like that. But that's the whole thing. Do you know how to move this in a way that triggers them, that taps into instincts and gets them moving? But I start a ton of dogs that other people can't play with on this. Okay. I also do a ton of this. This is a rabbit. You see, he's pretty well used, and that's the string is tied around his neck. I just have it wrapped. I have it wrapped around him, and you can see this guy. And I do the same thing. I move it around. This gives them a little different feel when they bite. I usually start on the sheepskin and then go to this. Sometimes I don't. I use. I'm going to explain why I also do these stuffed animals and stuff on a string versus a tug, and versus a spring pole. A spring pole is the action of that spring. It's no interaction with you. And some people will say, well, I'm telling the dog to bite. I'm telling the dog to come to heel. You're doing behaviors for reinforcement of the spring pole. You cannot duplicate with a spring pole what I can do with this toy on a string. It's impossible. The interaction, the eye contact, the faces that I make, movements, the little tiny wins. When I choose when the dog wins, when it doesn't win, the victory laps. Yeah, you can quick release the spring pole victory lap. It is not the same thing. Believe me, I had a guru tell me that he's doing the same thing with a spring pole that I would do with possession games, not on a spring pole, with a toy. And that's to say that you don't understand how all of this stuff works. Anyway, one of the big things, I'm going to show you some more toys, and then I'm going to talk more about that. This is another one. This one's beat up. Googly loves this one. There's nothing left in its head. There's no stuffing left. It's tied on its neck again, and the big string. This is a duck. Publix for $4. The head's gone, but I had a string tied on its neck. So now I'm going to tie a string on its wing. Can you guys see? And I'll use this again. I'm going to show you the string. This is what I use most of the time You guys see Publix? I'm sorry, Home Depot. I want to block the light with my head. Home Depot string, cheap. It's thin. Very strong, but it's thin. One of the things, the reason why some of these stuffed animals here are a couple months old, 2, 3 months old. How do they last? Because they're not super strong. Depends how you're playing with a dog. A lot of these dogs, I'm giving them just enough, and they wanna pull, and then they wanna shake. And as they do that, I'm letting the line go slack, and they can get that full shake, boom, 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 and then we come back in, and I trigger the shake again. See, I'm triggering instincts. I am tapping into the dog, and not doing this mechanical tug of war thing. I rarely get into this really fight of strength with the dog, right? I never show the dog I'm stronger than him. Careful when you see guys picking dogs up and this and that. There are certain dogs at certain times, if you do it correctly, you could do a lift, and the lift is, I do it in a way that I got you up, but oh, you're way too strong for me to hold, and you stayed on the toy. And it's not this humping a dog around, swinging a dog around. It shows that dog that you're stronger than them. And in this game, you want to show the dog is stronger than you, right? And then the other thing is, are you doing more of a possession game, you against the dog, tapping into that, or are you tapping into instincts where the dog bites and thrashes that toy? And a lot of these dogs that I have, what's really important for them is to. That's where these toys on a string are really nice, because they can really tap into that, and they thrash and they go. And Googly, I'm going to post Wilbur. I call him Googly. Nova, a lot of the pit bulls and stuff like that. It's not about, you don't see me constantly healing them, sit down, outs. It's not the whole session. Sometimes there's no outs, and they bite, and I trigger the thrashing, and I just give them enough so that they think that toy is still alive, and then they go into their thing. People want to talk about genetic expression because they play with dogs, and then all they do is use a toy for a reinforcer for behaviors. You're not doing genetic expression, you know what I mean? Especially with a dog like Wilbur, Nova, Utah, Jade, those kind of dogs, right? You're just doing behaviors for a toy reinforcer. And with a lot of these dogs, the whole session will just be triggering something, some instinct. Utah, I go into a fight with him most of the time. He'll come out, and here's another one. I just want to show you this. This is just a tug, and I use short ones, small ones. Teach the dog to bite where they're supposed to bite on strings. And I've talked about why you use strings, why I have 2 strings on a tug for certain dogs, teaching them where to bite, how to fight, where they're supposed to fight, all these kinds of things. But this tug, Utah absolutely loves it. When Utah plays with the sheepskin on a string or stuffed animal on a string, it's very different than when I bring out the tug. And because that tug really initiates where me and you are fighting, right? And there's sometimes, especially when it's hot, he's affected by the heat. He'll come out a little slow. And if I just do the humping him around and this and that, he's like, this isn't really much for me. But as soon as I start to do my things with him, and I look at him a certain way, and I let him know, hey, we're gonna fight, he turns on, and he gets into that zone, and we fight for that tug, and I make it so I am challenging enough to him so he's really got to fight me, but he's always superior to me in this game. He's always winning. I don't hump him around. I don't swing him around. He would hold on. I could, right? But I am. It's always doing just enough to really bring that fight out, but I can't compete with you at that level. If you bring it that level, you're going to win. And then I that's brings it out in him, and he loves that fight. He loves it because who he is, right? So what dog do you have? What do you do with them? What do you do with the toy? Are you going to have him chase around the sheepskin on a string? A lot of times what I do is I trigger the dog to get the dog biting and this and that, and then I quickly turn that into me holding the sheepskin like a tug, and then teach them about the fight. And what kind of dog is this? Is this a dog that I'm going to go that route with, and then I bring in a tug, right? And then we go into the tug. Utah, that's what I did do with him. Wilbur, Nova, some of these dogs, they will bite a tug, but I keep them on the sheepskin stuffed animal toys, and trigger that instinct that they have, the terrier stuff, the bully stuff, the pit bull stuff, to shake and to kill, and that kind of stuff. And I tap into that, and the whole session can just be me making them, let them know that toy's alive, that toy will escape, you gotta go, and they go, right? Utah, I can get him to do that, but he really wants the fight. He's not Utah. People don't understand dogs, individual dogs. Utah doesn't have a lot of prey drive. He wants to fight other dogs. It's two different things. He has aggression to strange dogs, right? He's really not that interested in squirrels and cats and stuff like that. He might chase him. He doesn't chase him at all with me. You know what I mean? But if I brought him out and kind of amped him up and told him to go, I mean, he would probably go and this and that. But he's really not into them. But show him a strange dog. You've seen the videos, right? Right? They don't understand that he's not. His problem with dogs is not prey drive, and he sees dogs as prey. Right? And so when I taught him to play, right? It's different than Nova, Wilbur. That they go after prey. They go after iguanas and squirrels and cats and stuff like that. So to tap into that, sheepskin was easy. Utah, I had to get him to bite and then show him, oh, this is leading to the fight that he wants. Very different, right? I could have you come here, Utah, and if you don't do this right, you would lose him in play. He would be like, this isn't what I like. Whereas other dogs, you just have to hold that toy, right? Zico, Malinois, stuff like that, they're just going to bite. They're just going to bite. It's different, right? But Zico, I mean, I had to bring him out. Puppy, he wasn't into it. He was different, So yeah, that's some of the toys. Publix, I buy the stuffed animals. I find them elsewhere, and the big thing is that they last too. Like I said, because when they do the pull, the string slips and they shake and they can do their thing, and I'm not getting into that huge fight with them. Utah is much more of a fight with that tug at times, but I show him just enough, and if he shows enough back, it's boom. The tug slips. I'm out on the string. He's shaking. He's you know what I mean? It's a totally different situation when I'm playing with him with a tug than when I'm doing sheepskin on a string and this and that. But don't focus on the toys. Focus on your understanding of how you tap into dogs' instincts, and know the difference between play, between aggression, that you redirect aggression into a toy. Know the difference between the chasing prey type of a thing and the fight that you can have with a dog, with a toy. Those are two very, very different things. But I can't tell you, yeah, this is the toy. Go get this toy, and it's going to work for your dog, and you have no clue what to do with it. And you jerk it around on a string. Oh, it didn't work for me. And that stuff is shit. It doesn't work for me. Well, look at my stuff. It works on countless dogs. It's you. If don't expect your dog. Oh, my dog doesn't want to play. Your dog doesn't want to play with you. Your dog doesn't want to play with you because you suck at playing. You suck at playing with that dog. Dogs play. Sure, you can get certain breeds by a certain age. If it wasn't developed, it's going to get difficult to do. The vast majority of dogs will play. I get dogs 5, 6 years old come here. The dog won't play, and the dog is playing with me. Right? Once again, there are some of those dogs, certain breeds, certain age. You missed your window. Yes, that can happen. Vast majority, that's not the case. And now, some of these dogs will take some work because nobody played with them for 5 or 6 years. It takes some work. You tap into it, but once you tap into it, magic can happen. Magic can happen. Not the toy, it's you. Learn how to tap into instincts, learn how to play with dogs. You know, there was always those kids. I grew up, nobody wanted to play with them. They didn't play right. Maybe they were dirty. Maybe not like dirt, but like they, whenever they played, they were not nice. They, in certain sports they fouled a lot. They or they just weren't good at the game, and nobody wanted them on their team. So nobody picked them, and nowadays you have to pick every single kid. Every single kid has to play, and this and that. But some kids, they're not meant for that. They're meant to do something else. Dogs is the same way. If your dog isn't playing with you, it's probably you.